Hello, we're going to get started. Just 1 second. Hello, this is Kyle Heisland, and today we're going to be discussing procurement reviews. There's a chat box at the bottom of the screen where you can ask questions. I will go through the present and then we'll get any questions at the chat box at the end. Today we will go through the overview of a procurement review. We will also go through the different steps in a procurement review. I will go in and show you how to log on and for the review as well as where and what to upload. We will then go to a completed review that you can see exactly what information we need and where we would like that information uploaded. Federal law mandates each LEA that uses federal funds must go through a procurement review every 6 years. To start off the review, CN Resource or DESI will send a letter indicating the review is open and ask you to upload your procurement plan, code of conduct, vendor paid list from the previous school year and complete the procurement table on web app system. Again, I will show you where this information goes in a bit. After you upload the information, DESI and CN Resource will choose the vendors from the micro, small, large purchase, and FSMCs from the procurement table and ask for additional documentation. We will then have you go and upload that documentation. We will then make sure that the correct information is uploaded and meets the specifics of the law. If it does not, we will offer technical assistance on how you could more clearly become compliant, or we could give you a corrective action. A corrective action means additional information must be uploaded and or a plan needs to be developed showing how you will meet the requirements of the law in the future. After successfully uploading the information, the LEA will receive a letter indicating they are in compliance with the procurement section of the law and their review is complete. We will then close the procurement review in the system, and the system will then update with the next review year. So now that we have talked about completing a procurement review, I'm going to transition to live internet for the next portion of the presentation. Before we go in, I would like to show some examples of documentation we need to see for the procurement review. First, I'm going to go to the DESI website and hover over administrators and clicking on the food and nutrition services. Then we'll want to go under quick links and click on procurement. If you look at the top, you will see you will need to click on the procurement review information. Oh, excuse me. This is the food and nutrition portion of the DESI website. If you're looking for something dealing with procurement, this is the place to go. Here we have housed many requirements for procurement, including the Buy American provision, the small purchase log, and lots of additional information regarding procurements. If you look at the top, you will need to click on the procurement review section or procurement review information. This page deals with specifically with procurement reviews. The initial information talks about what I had discussed earlier. At the bottom, you can see the 2021 school year list. And I would like to start by clicking on the sample procurement plan. This plan was updated this year and meets the specifics of the law as well as gives directions on how to meet the requirements of the law. You can see portions highlighted in yellow. These are to be filled out by the LEA. If you scroll down, you will see the General Procurement Procedures, Minority and Women's Businesses portion, as well as the Buy American provision. An important part of this plan is under H. Here, the LEA needs to enter their specific LEA procurement thresholds. Many schools have thresholds that are less than the state and federal threshold. Remember, you must go with the lowest thresholds when procuring goods and services. For example, the state and federal, as you can see, micro purchase threshold is $10,000, but the LEA's threshold may be $3,000. In this case, the micro purchase requirements must be adhered to for any purchases under $3,000. This is the same with the small purchase threshold. In the state and federal threshold is 250,000, but the LEA's may be 15,000. So any purchase between $3,001 and $15,000, the LEA must use the small purchase procedures. Any purchases over the 15,000 in this example would utilize the formal procurement procedures. Below is the table where you enter the thresholds are sections of how to properly administer the micro purchase procedures, small purchase procedures, and formal purchase procedures. These are sections for different areas of a procurement, such as non-competitive negotiations, purchasing equipment, and emergency purchasing. If you scroll further down, there are several appendices, including checklists on what we are looking for when you make a small purchase. We give directions for phone quotes, as well as email quotes for small and micro purchases. And we finish off the checklist with making formal purchases. Here's an example of a phone quote. An email quote, and formal procurement checklist. That is a very important document as it paves the way for the LEAs to properly procure goods and services at all the different levels of procurement. Now let's click on Code of Conduct. Here's a sample of the LEAs can use to meet the requirements for the Code of Conduct. The LEA specific Code of Conduct needs to be uploaded into the system. I will show you that in a minute. Now on the website, you can click on the vendor paid list. Here you will see an Excel spreadsheet showing the example of the vendor paid list. We need to see the vendor name, amount, purchase date, and description of the purchase. You will need to do these individually by vendor and total them at the end of each vendor. Please use Excel document to upload into the system. That helps us out quite a bit. Now let's go to the DESI page and log in. Here's the main web page. You're going to scroll down to web applications and log in. You'll then click on Food and Nutrition Services and then continue. At the top of the page, you will click on Compliance and then Procurement Review Tracking. Today, my example is going to be at a review that was completed this year. Here you will click on Details, and that gets you the Procurement Review dashboard. If you scroll down to the second last line under Review Tools, here you will click on Detail. As you can see, this is where the notification letter was uploaded. You will go to the bottom of the page and click Attachment. A box will come up where you can then upload your procurement plan, your code of conduct, and vendor paid list. Now I'm going to go back out of this for a minute. If you look at the third line under the review tools, you see the LEA procurement table. Click on details, and this is where you will enter your information from your vendor paid list into the appropriate levels of purchasing. This example has one micro purchase and one FSMC. If you click on the micro purchase, you will see at the top left, Add Vendor. You will click on that and add all of the vendors you have and their information from your vendor paid list. We will cross-check the vendor paid list with this to make sure everything is accurate. You can go in and do the same for the small, formal, and FSMC contracts portion of the vendor paid list. After you enter this information, we will select some vendors that we want to see invoices and documentation on. Here we clicked on and we want to see the card services for the micro purchase. I know there's only one. And for the FSMC, we're going to want to see their OPA contract. That's this green check mark was selected. The fourth line down, oh, I got to back out one more. You're at the procurement review dashboard. The fourth line down is the documentation for us as we review the forms. You do not have to do anything with this part. If you click on the detail, then view by the general procurement procedures, you will see exactly the requirements we're making sure are there in the documents you have uploaded. You can do this for the micro, small, formal contracts and FSMC portion of the review as well. So now that we have looked at the documentation under review forms and have verified documents meet the requirements, if they have not, we will go in and give technical assistance and make a corrective action that the LEA must address before the review is complete. In this example, there was no documentation that the LEA established an advisory board that included students. Click on the required corrective action and you will see the document needed to meet this requirement. If you click on LEA corrective action response, you see the plan this LEA will implement to meet this requirement. We now go back to the LEA procurement review dashboard. If you go to the fifth line, you will see corrective action documents. Click on that and you will see the corrective action again. Click on the view and you will see corrective action. Scroll down and you see the LEA's response from the previous page. And then you will see the documentation they uploaded at this point. When we then accept the documentation for the corrective action, we will close the review. If you again go under the review attachments portion of the dashboard, you will see all the documentation uploaded, and most important for the schools, the closeout letter that documents the review is in fact closed and complete. That is the complete process of a procurement review. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, please ask them in the chat box and we will answer them. I'm going to mute myself now and see if we have any questions. And seeing no questions, I would like to thank Jamie and Darla for helping me out today and running the chat box. And thank you all for coming. Have a great day.